So in the last video, we are going through the introduction of Azure services and what it consists of. So we saw that the commonly used categories are compute, networking, storage, mobile, databases, web, Internet of Things, big data, AI, and DevOps. So now let's go through each one of them. So the first one is compute. So let's go through this. So compute services are often one of the primary reasons why companies move to the Azure platform. Azure provides a range of options for hosting applications and services. And here are a few examples. So we have Azure Virtual Machines, Windows and Linux virtual machines hosted in Azure, Azure Virtual Machine scale sets. So it's important to know what are scale sets, right? So scaling for Windows and Linux virtual machines hosted in Azure. So you have scale sets, and then you have Kubernetes service. So in the exam, for the exam and in general, we need to know what are the services and what they do, right? You don't need to go through them in detail, but we just need to have a general understanding of what the services are and what they do. So Azure Kubernetes Service. So it's the function is cluster management for VMs that run containerized services. Cluster management. Let's run. So I think the keyword here is containerized. Cluster management. Let's see what it is. If there is any specific definition. Group of Kubernetes clusters, modern cloud-native applications, Kubernetes environments are becoming highly distributed. It's a backend GUI. Okay, today talk about Kubernetes. Yeah, I was searching for Kubernetes and it's not there. So, we can make a note and to go through this a little later, right? So, let's move on. Then you have Azure Service Fabric, and the function is distributed service platform that runs in Azure or on premises. Distributed systems platform that runs in Azure or on premises. Azure Batch Managed service for parallel and high performance computing applications. And you have Azure Container Instances, which is a containerized apps. Notice using the same terminology here. Containerized apps run on Azure without provisioning servers or VMs. So here we're talking about VMs, and here we're not talking about VMs. So here we're not provisioning um, servers or VMs. Azure Functions, an event-driven serverless compute service. So, so this is where you can write code and can run on any platform. I mean, it could do with JavaScript or Node.js, C Sharp. So, um, and you don't need to set up a server or a virtual machine to run the code. So it's a serverless computing service. Um, so that was Azure Compute, or computing in terms of Azure. So virtual machine skill sets seem to make some sense. Kubernetes, Service Fabric, Batch, and Container Instance is something that we need to look at. Alright, so let's move on. And now we have networking. So linking compute resources and providing access to applications is the key function of Azure networking. Networking functionality in Azure includes a range of options to connect the outside world to services and features in global Azure data centers. So there are at least about 10 to 15 of them. So I think we can go through this in the next video. So until then, see you next time.